Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome everyone to today's explainer. Today, we're taking a profound and honestly quite intense deep dive into a topic that affects literally every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. We're looking at exactly how dark psychology controls minds. Drawing directly from our source material today, we're going to unpack the hidden mechanisms, the subtle little gestures, and the deliberate tactics that people use to manipulate, influence, and ultimately dominate the thoughts of the people around them. It is absolutely fascinating, it's highly structured, and today you're going to see exactly how these invisible strings are pulled.
This is not for the faint of heart. The world isn't just goodness and love. We really need to immediately shift our perspective here. Look, manipulation is everywhere. Our analysis today is going to expose the dark truths of human psychology based on our source material. And hey, this isn't about being cynical, right? It's about being aware. Because once you actually understand how these mental traps are set up, you can instantly recognize when someone is trying to use them on you. So here's our roadmap of the human mind. We'll start at the surface by reading everyday signals, then move to tactics of subtle control, explore some highly dangerous mind games, uncover the ultimate emotional traps, and finally, learn how to master the mind.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, reading everyday signals, the hidden language.
Before anyone can control a mind, they kind of have to understand what it's thinking, right? Look at these 3 everyday tricks from our source. The yawn test is practically a superpower. If you think someone is secretly watching you, just fake a yawn and look right at them. Yawning is incredibly contagious, so if they yawn right after you do, boom, you've caught them. Then there's the laughter glance. Whenever a group laughs at a joke, people subconsciously look at the person they feel closest to. Observing this reveals all the hidden dynamics in your office. And this brilliantly illustrates the final trick, the elder advice. If you want instant credibility in a meeting, just attribute your idea to a respected elder, like your grandfather. People naturally defer to elder wisdom, so they're far less likely to challenge you.
Now, picture this. You're walking into a massive job interview, or maybe a crucial first date. You reach out to shake hands. According to the psychology outlined in our source, the actual temperature of your hands fundamentally alters their perception of you. Warm hands subconsciously signal respect, connection, and confidence. Cold hands, they instantly broadcast weakness and discomfort. So a simple trick, just rub your hands together to generate some heat right before you walk into the room. It literally changes their psychological baseline of you before you've even said a single word. Moving right along to Section 2, tactics of subtle control, directing the flow. Okay, we're shifting gears now from just observing to actively influencing behavior. Let's look at the serial position effect. Human memory is notoriously flawed. People almost always forget the middle of an event. They remember how things start and how they end. So, if you're interviewing for a job, you want to be either the very first candidate, which anchors their perception, or the very last, which leaves a fresh, lasting impression. If you're stuck in the middle, you just kind of fade into the background noise.
So, the crucial point is how physical actions dictate mental states. Imagine a colleague is just furiously angry with you in a meeting. Instead of sitting across from them in a confrontational way, use proximity control. Walk over and sit directly beside them. It forces them to physically turn their body to yell at you, which is super uncomfortable, and it completely de-escalates their aggression. Or what about the snack man effect? If a fight is breaking out, literally just start eating something. Eating is a deeply ingrained subconscious calming activity, so doing it during a conflict actively diffuses the tension in the room. And finally, the Ben Franklin effect. If someone hates you, ask them for a tiny favor, like borrowing a pen. Their brain experiences this wild cognitive dissonance, like, why am I helping my enemy, and resolves it by tricking itself into thinking, I must actually like this person. It is scary how well it works.
You can also forge these subconscious bonds through adrenaline and mirroring. Taking someone on a roller coaster or to a scary movie releases a ton of adrenaline, and their brain literally hardwires that intense, thrilling emotion directly onto you, cementing attraction. Pair that with subtly mirroring their body language, crossing your arms if they do, leaning in when they do, and you trick their brain into feeling immediate, deep trust because they subconsciously see themselves in you. So, we've seen how to steer conversations and build trust. But what happens when influence turns into absolute control? That brings us to Section 3, highly dangerous mind games, breaking reality. All right, I need everyone to take this next part seriously. We're moving away from everyday tricks into toxic, relationship-destroying tactics. the most devastating of which is gaslighting. As defined here, gaslighting is a severe manipulation tactic where the abuser forces the victim to question their own memory, perception, and sanity. The source material gives a chilling example. A manipulator will secretly move your belongings around, and when you ask about it, they'll just blankly look at you and say, "I didn't touch it, you must be losing your mind." Done consistently over time, the victim actually starts to believe they're going crazy. It literally destroys reality from the inside out. Then we have the cycle of love bombing. I want to walk you through these steps with urgency because this trap can lock people in for years. Step 1. The manipulator just showers the victim with overwhelming love, attention, and massive promises. Step 2. Once the victim is completely dependent on that affection, the manipulator suddenly and coldly withdraws it, creating a deep sense of panic and total desperation. Step 3. Just when the victim is at their absolute lowest, the manipulator returns, bringing all the affection back. This cycle creates a profound trauma bond. It's basically an addiction where the victim entirely submits to control just to keep the peace.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how manipulators completely evade responsibility through reframing. This is a deceptive tactic where they flip the narrative to justify their toxicity. Instead of admitting they're obsessively controlling, they'll just look at you and say, "I'm only acting this way because I love you so much." They twist the story so they always get to be the good guy, making the victim feel guilty for even bringing up the abuse in the first place. It is a highly subtle, highly effective mental trap. Section 4. The ultimate emotional traps. Complete submission. Okay, this is the darkest tier of our source material. When manipulators want complete submission, they pull out these weapons of emotional destruction, and they usually use them all in combination. The third-person game involves dragging someone else into the dynamic to weaponize jealousy, keeping you totally off balance. The power of silence uses the silent treatment to induce panic, forcing you to apologize just to break that awful quiet. Playing the victim card exploits your natural empathy, right? Making you cater to their every need. Unjustified judgment slowly chips away at your self-esteem, but criticizing things you haven't even done. And finally, threat and fear, the constant looming pressure of, if you don't do what I want, I'm out of here. And that leads to the absolute most dangerous trick of all, the emotional cocktail. A master manipulator doesn't just use one emotion. They mix them together into this chaotic blend. They'll give you a little love, immediately followed by fear, then they pile on the guilt and throw in a dash of jealousy for good measure. They serve you this emotional cocktail constantly. This relentless whiplash prevents your brain from ever finding stable ground. You get so confused and exhausted by the constantly shifting emotions that your free will simply breaks and you fall entirely under their command. Let's move into the light with Section 5, Master the Mind, Building Your Armor. All right, it's time to step out of the darkness and focus on building your armor. The goal of this explainer is absolutely not to make you fearful, but to empower you with the knowledge you need to protect yourself. To truly immunize yourself against these manipulations, our source highly recommends 3 essential books for your psychological defense. First up, The 48 Laws of Power, which reveals the ruthless rules of gaining and maintaining authority. Second, The Art of Seduction, which completely deconstructs how charm and attraction are weaponized. And third, The Laws of Human Nature, which provides a masterclass in reading people and understanding their deepest motivations. Engaging with these texts gives you the ultimate framework to spot a manipulator from a mile away. Keep your mind sharp. Don't fall under control. Understanding how dark psychology controls minds is definitely a double-edged sword. It is utterly fascinating, for sure, but it highlights the very real dangers lurking in everyday human interactions. Use this knowledge to observe and protect your peace. Because after seeing how easily the mind can be hacked, you really have to ask yourself, who might be pulling your strings right now without you even knowing it? Keep learning, stay aware, and we'll see you next time.